Welcome to the Terrible Podcast with your hosts from SteelersDepot.com, where you can find all your latest and greatest Steelers news. It's Dave Bryan and Alex Kozora, always lit, talking Steelers. And now, here's Dave and Alex.
Welcome to the Terrible Podcast, another special edition of the Terrible Podcast, Pittsburgh Steelers Training Camp 2019. I'm Dave Bryan from SteelersDepot.com. It is Saturday night. It is 6 o'clock here in Las Vegas. That means it's almost 9 o'clock right outside of Pittsburgh, where my co-host is Alex Kozora, fresh off of another trip to Latrobe, to Saint Vincent College. Alex, happy Saturday to you.
Happy Saturday, Dave. Good to talk to you. I know we didn't have the podcast after the Friday Night Lights practice because it obviously was such a late practice. I didn't get my report up till almost 2:30 in the morning, my time. But a lot to recap today. Probably a less eventful day. Definitely a less eventful day because they weren't in pads, but still a good bit to talk about there. So let's get after it.
Yeah, let's get after it. This is really kind of the normal for us in these special edition podcasts come the time of the Friday Night Lights practice because you getting home so late. We don't do one at that, so we usually try our best, and I know it's tough to remember kind of exactly what happened during the Friday, try to keep the two nights separate or whatnot, but I don't know however you want to do it. Do you want to start just on, well, I guess first we should start with a little bit of housekeeping as far as who is and who isn't practicing. Last night during the Friday Night Lights practice, Vince Williams hamstring, Anthony Chickillo hamstring, and rookie wide receiver Deontay Johnson hip, all were reportedly kind of injured in the latter parts of practice. Mike Tomlin obviously said all would be evaluated, didn't have much information on those guys. None of those guys, as far as I can tell, practiced today. Mike Tomlin it doesn't sound like any of those injuries are significant, but he still terms all those players day to day, and hopefully they'll get work their way back to us soon. So they might be on, a few of them might be on the sideline a little bit longer. And boy, you can stand that with a guy like Chickillo and a guy like Vince Williams, obviously veterans and know what's going on, but you just hate to hear that when it comes to a rookie wide receiver, and especially an underclassman one in Johnson as well too. So I got the three main ones out of the way. Why don't you tell me who else is working or back working and isn't working?
Yeah, a lot going on this time of year. For today, Ben got the day off. Foster got the day off. They're rotating the veteran linemen pretty heavily. No Sean Davis. No Artie Burns. Don't know what's going on there. He was walking around. Looks okay. I probably would deem that minor. Yeah, no Johnson. Dante Moncrief still not in team, but he's kind of working his way back, still running some routes and catching passes just with his right healthy hand, not the injured left hand. Back in full today. Some good news across the board. Pouncey and Villanueva had rest, so they were back. Sutton Smith missed one day with the Friday Night Lights practice for unknown reason, but he returned. Bud Dupree was back in team and full today. Johnny Holton, receiver, back in full today, so that's good to see. Cameron Kennedy did some long snapping, so apparently that groin appears to be minor. Nothing major going on there. T.J. Watt, while still on PUP, was in the stretch line, kind of working out those hamstrings. He's been dealing with, so he's probably close to coming back. If I had to guess, and I've been wrong on this before, I think he might have a chance to come back on Tuesday after the player's off day. So good stuff there. I don't think any major injuries today. I know there were some reports about Grimble and Christian Scotland Williamson getting wrapped up, but I think there were minor things. They were both unattended by trainers at the end of practice today, and I would consider those very minor and just kind of what happens when you're in this long stretch of camp.
Boy, the last thing they need is for a tight end, especially Grimble, to go down right now. What did you say about Holton? He is still not back full?
No, he is full. Yeah, he'd been in pads for the last several days, but had only done individual, and today he was back in team, so he's full. Also, and I'm pretty sure I saw him in pads before practice, or not in pads because today they were padless, but in a jersey. But Mark Barron, not in team. So Mark Barron's been weird this camp. We talked about it the other day where he's been in and out. So I don't know what's the deal with him, but did not see 26 in team drills today.
Yeah, there's something going on with him for sure then. So,
Yeah,
and Mike Tomlin hasn't said exactly what that is. So we'll just have to wait and see and let this thing play out. But him, it's just not a veteran day off with him. Guys like Foster, guys like Pouncey, guys like Roethlisberger, those are the guys that get the day off. Now, Roethlisberger didn't work today, and he had like a compression sleeve or something. I think it was on his left leg or whatnot. Mike Tomlin was asked about that, especially after 2 days in a row of really Roethlisberger doing nothing. Mike Tomlin swears it's nothing, not an injury or anything like that. They just worked on a lot of, obviously last night you would expect it with the rainy field and all like that. I mean,
it was a scheduled off day anyway.
And it was a scheduled off day anyway. But him not working today, maybe it was because it was a lighter day and they were just working on a lot of situational stuff. I mean, Mike Tomlin sure did lay it on nice. I mean, he said that, look, these are the guys that are going to be in the 2-minute situation type stuff here in a couple weeks in these first 2 preseason games. We've seen Ben in that stuff before. We need to get the other guys work. So that's the way Mike Tomlin wrote it off there. If Ben doesn't go tomorrow, then something's obviously, he's got a tweak of something or whatnot. But we'll keep our fingers crossed when it comes to that.
Yeah, Ben looked fine. It looked like a normal rest day. He went through his normal stuff like he would on a day off. So I'm going to assume for now that he's perfectly fine.
Yeah, okay. And let's see. I don't know where you want to start. Do you want to start, try to just go position group, and then you tell me what happened over the course of the last 2 nights in each of the nights, and we'll go from there?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to try to do it.
All right, offensive line. Ramon Foster not in there today, and it sounded like later on today too. Our boy Fred Johnson got a little bit of tackle work. Anything else kind of stick out to you the last two practices there?
Yeah, Dave, that's a weird one. Fred Johnson at left tackle for the no huddle session today.
Coming.
I didn't either. I mean, I looked over, I saw Hawkins and Okorafor there, not around a trainer. Now, somebody could have gotten dinged, or they just want to give Johnson a look there. But this dude's played right tackle before. He did right tackle at Florida, but left tackle, that's brand new to him, and it looked brand new to him. He was rough, to say the least. But overall, I think Johnson's doing well. I'm glad he's healthy. He missed the one practice. He's back. But in Friday Night Lights, they had him going like 4 straight reps in O-line, D-line, and he held his own. So I think they're kind of testing that conditioning a little bit, and he looked to come out, well. And I think him and Zach Banner, who's having a nice camp too, especially as Gerald Hawkins has struggled, have those inside tracks. He was talking about they keep 9, which good chance of that. They're going to keep at least 8, but possibly 9. The 2 guys with the best chance to make it right now are Zach Banner and Fred Johnson. And
we haven't talked a lot about Zach Banner, but I mean, is he? I mean, does he look like he can be that? That 8th or 9th?
Yeah, I think he does. The concern there is how position limited he is, because he's really just a right tackle. Could he play left tackle theoretically? I guess, but he's really only played right side. But his weight's down, for where it was back in Indy and Cleveland. That got him cut and almost got him out of the NFL entirely. He moves well, and although he's not a super athlete, obviously you can't overpower this guy because he's 6'9", 340, and going around him still tough because he's so big and so long. He can ride these guys upfield or seal you inside with the strength and length that he has. So I think it's been a really solid camp for Banner, and again, I think he's looking he's on maybe the inside track for a roster spot, just like he was last year.
And we have seen really no work from him at left tackle, right?
I'd have to go through my notes again. They have sort of flipping guys, so it may have happened, but I don't recall it. I think it's mainly just been second and third team right tackle. He'll get second and third team reps on days where Okorafor bumps up to first team right tackle, as he did today.
And Filer remains the ultimate kind of Swiss Army starter at obviously starter at right tackle and can play multiple positions. Finney showing that he can play all 3 of those positions in the inside as well too. So let's keep the bubble wrap nearby for these guys right now. Long way to go overall, but you got to be happy with literally that the depth of this offensive line from top to bottom, and even on into a couple of guys past. You just don't see that in the NFL.
You don't, but that's a testament to how much they've invested in both coaching, draft picks, the undrafted guys and all that. One other quick note, J.C. Hassenauer might be ahead of Patrick Morris. He ran ahead of him today, second team left guard. So Morris has been a little better the last couple of days, but overall had a pretty poor camp. I didn't think Hassenauer's been very good either, been very grabby, but he may have a slight edge over Morris right now.
All right, quarterback position. You had the Josh Dobbs, Mason Rudolph, and Devlin Hodges being there. And Devlin looked like he got a little bit of extra work, I think, Friday night there. So it looks like they're giving him a little bit of extra burn. Did my eyes deceive me? Did he get a little bit of 7 shots or 7-shot snap today or no?
He got 7 shots today. Yeah, it was who started 7 shots today, but Hodges rotated in as the last 3 or 4 snaps. Who was 7 shots today? It was trying to find my notes here. Dobbs, and then Hodges came in. So yeah, I mean, Tomlin talked up Hodges yesterday, right? I saw some praise, and I'm sure he was asked about him. I'm guessing Tomlin was. I didn't.
Yeah. He was asked about the little bit extra work and just saying just part of the process and all done a good job, and the real test I think will be when the lights come on and all like that. So
but like I said before, I think Hodges is better than your average number 4. There's going to be some talent there. I thought Rudolph didn't have a great day today. Some throws he should have missed. They didn't convert on their no huddle session, which is pretty rare for an offense not to be able to do that. Dobbs, I think, has been better. He's made some bigger plays downfield. He actually probably had his best throw of camp today on a touchdown pass in that no-huddle session to Juju over Steven Nelson. It was a really pretty ball, high-pointed, throw it high where only your receiver can go get it. So Dobbs is getting on the right track, but neither guy, and I said this before, I said while Rudolph has been better than Dobbs after the first, 5 practices, neither of these guys are where they need to be or should be. And so that whole group's got to get better. Hodges has been impressive, but there's a ways to go with this quarterback group.
Look, you want somebody at least to snatch this thing. I mean, you don't want both of them to, who played worse.
Right, lesser of two evils is not the plan for the backup quarterback.
Right. So you want to see, and then look, it is early, right? And you go against the same defense and yada yada. I mean, I'm not making up excuses for either one of them, but I mean, boy, when you get into this preseason, Dobbs being in his 3rd year, and now Mason obviously, it's slowed down for him now. One of these two, you spend as high a draft picks as you did on these 2 kids. One of them better shake out.
Yeah, and there's still a ways to go. We'll get into games. We'll see how things happen. Dobbs, I think, has always done well in games. Rudolph, obviously, it'll be a big difference going from year 1 to year 2. But just whenever I envision how things could go ideally before camp started, it's not what I'm seeing on the field right now consistently with either of those guys. I still think Rudolph's been better than Dobbs, but Dobbs has closed that gap a little bit. And neither guy's probably where they want to be.
I'm gonna be in the fetal position crying if Rudolph doesn't just flat out win this thing, But
well, we'll see.
It is what it is.
It's still open jobs. I mean, someone asked me today, is this job? Someone asked me that someone else said this job's over. Rudolph has it. Nope, it's still wide open.
And I say it, and I've learned to say it every year now. Sometimes these things have a funny way of working themselves out too.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure what that would look like in this scenario.
Well, I mean, who knows? But boy, Champ Bailey's just got tears streaming down his face here. I'm watching.
Kevin Boy had a great speech.
He did.
Awesome.
He really did. And this is so great now that these things show up on the internet real quick too. And I'm recording it on top of it. Boy, Champ is just balling like a baby here. All right, wide receivers.
Tevin Jones is perked up, having a couple better practices.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Ty Law. That was Ty Law. I thought it was Champ Bailey. It was Ty Law. All right, go ahead.
Cool. Tevin Jones is really perked up, having a couple nice practices, obviously managing the opportunities from not having guys like Johnson and Moncrief and Holden not practicing in team for Friday Night Lights. Just showing some of the speed that he has. I wish he kind of would get a look in the return game. I think he has the open field speed to be interesting there. Deontay Spencer, while he had one bad drop in Friday Night Lights, had some really tough catches both in that drill that day and then today in the no-huddle session. So you're kind of seeing some of the contested, combative situations that he's capable of making. And he's got a good vert, too. He times it jump well. He's not afraid to go across the middle. He's a tough guy. Got a little swagger to him, so I like the job that Deontay Spencer's done. But obviously his ticket's still special teams, and you won't find that out until you get into a game.
I hope he stays healthy between now and next Friday because he is one I really am interested. I've gone 2 games deep into some CFL stuff even over the course of the last week, and he's an exciting player. I mean, he's small. I mean, obviously, but I mean, can he be a Tyreek? Can he take a licking? How's that? I mean, it seems like
I think he's tough. I think he's tough. He's going over the middle like he can. Now, I know today the defense couldn't hit back, but it feels like a guy that's willing to sacrifice his body to make a play.
we've seen in the past them try to get the Dree Archers and the the smaller type players, and they just fragile, if you will, and it seems like he can take a pop there. Boy, he I don't know how he looks out there on those fields, but on tape he sure does look quick.
Yeah, he's quick. He looks small, but he's also. I mean, Archer was just a mess. He was fast, but you couldn't do anything with it. Spencer's a technical route runner that's experienced, has done this stuff before, so he's not just this athlete that can't play football. I think he's an athlete that can play football within the structure of a play call. So I think he's in a good place right now.
Yeah, maybe he's a guy that ends up, and maybe you showcase him enough, and I don't know, maybe you can get a 7th for him. It's kind of doubtful, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're talking about a guy. Heck, I mean, if he can't make your roster, he can't make your roster, and he's unless he, I guess what I'm getting at is if he had any value as a kick returner, he needs to show it just to stick with the Steelers, because if he doesn't, he's not going to have a lot of value anywhere else. But I mean, you hate to hype these guys up this much, and then nothing happens, but we'll definitely see on that. Okay, running backs. Boy, Ben Roethlisberger sure is hyping these guys. I don't know. I think he's kind of twofold here. Want to make sure he says it in venues too, where he knows potentially other people are going to hear it, i.e., Le'Veon Bell, I guess. I mean, don't make no mistake about it. Sometimes Ben is calculated as calculated could be.
Sure.
And that, and also pumping up these guys on national radio shows like that. But and look, I mean, some of this is playing into some of the things that you have said. Look, we know we've seen James Conner be a receiver for a year, right? I mean, we know that what he can do, what his limitations are. We know that Jalen Samuels is a guy, even going all the way back for 4 full years at North Carolina State, how they used him and how he can catch the football and how he can be used, as a route runner. Now, Benny Snell, and Lord knows we probably not going to see him a ton during his rookie season, but stranger things have happened. Such was the case last year with Jalen Samuels. Ben said he's got better hands than probably what a lot of people give him credit for, and he mentioned something, a brief blurb about he wasn't used a lot, I don't think, in Kentucky in that role, but Ben said he's been testing them with some bad. If Ben if Ben tests everybody with bad throws, he must look like shit.
Devlin Hodges, your starting quarterback week 1, Dave. No, he throws a ton of bad balls. Yeah, for test these guys for sure.
Yeah, I hope he really is doing that on purpose. Because
it's a convenient excuse. It is a bad ball.
Right, he does. He says earlier in the offseason, boy, I throw a lot of bad balls to Deontay Johnson. Now he's saying he throws a lot of bad balls to Benny Snell, and I'm thinking to myself, when do you throw any good ones? But regardless, he said Benny's surprising him and catching nearly all of them. So look, I mean, we already know that guys like Connor and guys like Snell are power runners, and guys that are much rather run you over than run around you type guys. And obviously Connor's got some elusiveness to him. Boy, just go look at that play against the Kansas City Chiefs in week 2 last year. His ability in the open field to make a play. Jalen Samuels is kind of a poor man's, I guess, Le'Veon Bell, if you will, more of a patient type runner, good out of the backfield, things like that. And now Snell on top of it. I don't think you could ask for a better group of three running backs right now.
Yeah, it's not too bad when you lose Le'Veon Bell, who I know you're not going to miss because in the sense you didn't have him last year. But yeah, I mean, it's a good group, and Snell, the hands have been super impressive. I've been saying that at least since even day one. I made a small note of that, and every day you kind of add to it. Today, it was an incompletion. I think his feet were out of bounds, but I thought it was a catch. But Snell adjusting to a ball in a scramble drill along the sideline, nice hands catch. Yeah, 29 career receptions at Kentucky, but this guy has natural soft hands, can adjust. Find the football, be able to finish plays. So I like what he's doing. I think he's competitive in backs on backers. He's had some great one-on-ones with Devin Bush. They've also gone at it in one-on-ones and in the coverage drills. So him and Devin Bush, Benny Snell and Devin Bush have been just like the two guys that you watch every day because they're always seeing each other 24 and 55. But I'm happy with both guys, but particularly for this topic, Snell, I think is off to a really good start.
There's a reality here, and you don't want to speak way too soon, but there's a reality here that those three guys could be together for a few years.
Yeah, I mean they're all going to be under contract for for a little while longer, and Connor's going to get locked up.
Right, you would think Connor's going to get locked up this time next year, right?
Yep.
I mean, Jalen's still got 2 years left on his rookie deal. And then Benny Snell's, of course, a rookie. I mean, what do you do with that? I mean,
I found that under a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
That's first world problems, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then just to your point, yeah, you don't expect to see Snell this year, but I said it before. They're probably going to need him at some point, because are you going to assume that Connor and Samuels get through this whole season healthy? Probably not. Someone's going down for some amount of time at some point in the season. That's going to make Snell the number 2, as it did Samuels the number 2 when Connor rolled his ankle against the Chargers. So at some point this year, we're going to be talking about Benny Snell having a fairly key role in this offense, and so far so good. He looks like he's up to the challenge. Again, ways away, but good start.
And obviously, the thing with Bell and all last year, if that hadn't have happened, would Snell? I mean, would Samuels ever look? I mean, I did not imagine in one iota that Jalen Samuels would have saw the field last year.
Right.
And he ended up starting 3 games or something like that, and look, he represented himself good on top of it. So yeah, definitely a good problem to have here. All right, we'll look for some of those other guys. Reports out of you, Webb, and all closer we get to the preseason game here. Tight end, we already know that Grimble and Christian Scott and Williamson had their groins wrapped and all. We already know what Vance McDonald is. What's going on with the other ones?
Well, again, Scotty, I think those injuries are super minor. I'm not worried about them one bit. Scotty, though, I mean, I was happy to see Tomlin. How much do you read in Tomlin's comments about Scotland Williamson having a chance to be a part of this thing? Is that a serious comment about him making the 53?
I don't know. He did. He sounds excited about him. You know what? I don't know how much coach speak it is. I mean, I don't know if he's just trying to pump up the international system or what. But I mean, make no mistake. And look, I mean, what is the more recent comment ahead of that? He said, if you could block a defensive end, you can play in this league. You'll have a job. I tell you what, I really will have an eye on him in the first couple of preseason games, probably a lot more than I thought I would originally. So, what's he up against in a guy like, Gentry? I mean, it's probably a Gentry, barring them going out and getting somebody else right now, which we still think could happen, depending on the who. This is you tell me. It's got to be a Christian Scotland Williamson versus Gentry battle right now.
Yeah, if anyone's going to knock Gentry off or somehow compel this team to keep 4 tight ends, which I think is pretty unlikely, it's going to be Scotty. But I'll get to Gentry in a second because I have a point with him. But I want to mention this, and I've said this throughout camp, and I tweeted this even, I think, before Tomlin's comments last night, so I don't want to sound like I'm parroting it. But the work that Christian Scotland Williams has put in has just really, I think, created this payoff for him to make some of these plays, and now you're seeing him make an impact as a receiver. Did have a bad drop in 7 shots today, would have been a touchdown. But aside from that, he's made 2 plays vertically downfield the last 2 or 3 practices, which he didn't do at all before those practices this year and didn't do it all last year or the preseason. So, I mean, the work he has, I mean, you're seeing a transformation of him in terms of his blocking, in terms of just the comfort level, and he never takes a second off of practice. Even if he's on the sideline, he's active, he's engaged, he's talking to tight ends coach James Daniel, he's working on his punch, he's going through a simulated rep, even if he's on the sideline. I mean, this dude is earning everything that he's getting. And so that work ethic can take you really far. And obviously his size is unique and special and can really help this team. So I don't know where this thing's going to go, but it won't be for a lack of trying when it comes to Christian Scotland Williamson.
And make no mistake about it, too. I mean, if they keep him, it's going to be primarily for blocking situations,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you have a guy in McDonald, you have a guy in Grimble who both can get down the field. You won't let yourself get in a situation where you're relying on him more than hopefully a quarter to be a primary pass catching tight end. That means something's gone wrong somewhere else there. If he is your best blocker, if he's your best blocker, and really, I mean, with his physicality and all like that, he ought to be a pretty damn good special teams player, right? I
worry about his size moving and changing directions.
Yeah.
But I get the rugby background. I mean, it would make sense. We'll see. But I would put him as one of the top 3 hardest workers on the team right now. That's how good it's been.
I mean, is it impossible that they cut Gentry? I mean, look, he's a fifth round guy. I mean, you look around the league every year, how many fifth rounders don't make it?
In Pittsburgh, a lot of those stories. Terry Hawthorne, Chicolo was cut early on in his career. Duran Grant was cut early on in his career. Shaq Richardson was cut. So it comes down to the blocking. Christian Scotland Williamson might have the edge. But Gentry, on the point with him, is that the way he wins is anything in a line. Like, he's a very straight line-ish player, which is not a shock if you saw his Michigan tape. But he's going to be a seam guy, a drag guy, anything where he can just kind of go in a line and use that size to box players out. That's how he's going to win. That's how he's won on basically all of his routes and team today. And also, Tomlin loves calling him Big Blue for the Michigan reference. So that's his little nickname for him.
Okay, I think we hit all the offense there. Let's slide over to the defensive side of the football. I guess on a lot of the guys, starters didn't, even though they were in pads, probably didn't work much Friday. And what's going on in that position group there?
I'm sorry, what position group? I didn't hear the
defensive line. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's weird? Tuitt always works like he's an undrafted guy. They never let him have any time off. I mean, I know he's got to earn more than a Hayward, but I always wonder why Tuitt plays like he's a backup or something. Really not a whole lot for the defensive line. I think it's the same. I think it's McCullers, Buggs, and everybody else trying to get noticed in there. I mean, there's been an occasional play by a Levon Hooks or a Casey Sales. Casey Sales is apparently like the fifth string long snapper. If you're ever curious about that, he took one snap today. But I don't have a whole lot there. I'm interested in seeing Winston Craig. Henry Mondo might be popping up a little bit more, but it's been pretty much the same as the last time we talked, where I think McCullers and Buggs have a pretty secure right now, and everyone else is very much outside looking in.
What areas has Big Dan grown in? I mean, he can't grow physically.
Yeah. Tenacity, just the physicality. And that stuff we saw last year, so it's not brand new for this year. But I think he is more physical. I think he is more assertive and aggressive. You know, he's been that big teddy bear. And I'm sure he's still like that off the field. But I think Carl Dunbar has really helped bring that out of him on the field, the aggression. Because I think, and I said this last year, Dunbar's style, which is a little bit softer, not less demanding, but just a little less drill sergeant-ish, as Sean Mitchell was, kind of meshes better with McCullers' teddy bearish personality. So I think that's been the key. But just being physical, tenacity, showing more consistency and drive, and finishing the play has probably been the biggest things for McCullers to turn things around and really make him feel like he's almost a lock to make this team as we sit here today.
All right, now for the Ola Adeniyi portion of the podcast.
That's what it feels like.
Hey, you know what? You stay on the field and you get your reps and you impress them along the way. There's not much. I mean, it really sounds like all around, he's doing everything that he needs to do and everything that we expected kind of that he would hopefully do this training camp as well, too. I mean, Chicolo's out. Bud was out yesterday, but was back today or not back today.
Yeah, he was back today in team.
Back today.
He was in pads yesterday, but didn't do team. So, yeah, you got it right. I don't mean to undercut you here because Adene's been fantastic, but the concern with him is going backwards, and that's something we knew coming out. And I saw that today. It was just one-on-one. I know it's a drill tailored for the offense to win, but he was going against Kevin Rader, a backup tight end who's not making the 53, and I mean he just can't stay with him. I mean he's grabbing the back of Rader's shorts almost and just pulling and trying to hang on, and would have been a reception that kind of skirted off of Rader's hands. The quarterbacks weren't very good. So again, the concern with him is that I know the Steelers hustle linebackers have dropped less. Watt went from 36% in 2017 to like 18% last year, but they still do drop. That's still 1 out of every 5 rush opportunities. And if they don't trust Adeniyi to drop into coverage, get to his spot, and be able to make plays in space, and then of course we're talking special teams as well, that's going to be an issue for him. So everything going forward has been nothing short of impressive for Adeniyi, but backward is still going to be the concern and the key for him in the preseason.
Gotcha. All right, JT Jones, was he? He's been a little bit. It's really not. I thought maybe they're going to have to add a outside linebacker here. Today.
Yeah, the lines are getting thin, but yeah, Jones came back and I think he's got a quick first step. He was whipping Fred Johnson, but yeah, like I said, I think it's a good group of edge rushers.
All right, let's go from there. Let's go to the inside linebackers.
I think Devin Bush has continued to play well. I've been happy with him, both in coverage and just I thought him and Snell have had good battles and backs on backers, but probably Bush definitely did better this backs on backers than he did the time before.
Now that first one, and look, I'm gonna defend Benny here. He's better than what I think he probably showed in that drill. And one of them there, just awful technique. I mean, he tries to eat up grass and he plants both of his feet. He stopped his feet moving, and then he got too mesmerized watching Devin Bush try to juke him that he stayed still, and then to Devin's credit, he shot those arms out real quick and got him into the chest of Benny Snell. Once that happens, it's over. If you're not moving your feet and somebody gets inside of your chest, you could even probably have taken Benny Snell back at that point. But I thought the next rep that he did, I thought Benny Snell represented himself well in there. And make no mistake about it, folks. That drill slanted for the guy getting after the quarterback. There's no two ways around it. So, the whole thing is, and I think Ben kind of joked after that first backs and backers first day in pads or whatnot was, all right, you gave me 2 seconds. That's all I need to throw a touchdown kind of thing, So, I mean, you're not going to want a back to get in a situation where he has to pass protect for 3 seconds.
Yeah, and they'll never have to work in that kind of space where the linebacker can go wherever he wants. That's never going to be a thing.
Right, exactly.
The other thing I want to note with the inside linebackers, and did I mention this before? Stop me if I did. But with
one other final thought on that too. But don't get caught up in the snap by snap. It's easy to do when Alex tweets out snap by snap for a lot of others, but and we see these reps and we see someone get bowled over like that in the backs on backers. Take it as just one piece of information and file it away. And let's keep adding those pieces of information for these next four weeks here. I see so many people want a hot take, instant. Make an instant conclusion out of this thing and all like that. That's the worst thing you can do right now. It's a growing period, it's a learning period and all like that, and evaluation period along the way too. And Mike Tomlin pretty much said, look, these two guys are in kind of similar spots. New players, kind of got a little bit of pedigree with them, and it's good to kind of face these two off against each other time and time again. And that's why you're seeing it as well too. All right, carry on.
No, I'm glad you said that. That's well said. Yeah, I make conclusions based on the drill, but I don't make the conclusions based on the player as a whole. Like you said, it's all part of the puzzle. But did I mention?
And I sit here and try to read off of you, and I'm the last one right now that should be drawing conclusions here. But what I do try to do is I'm kind of masterful at being able to file away little pieces of information, and then that's what I kind of use to kind of look for once these preseason games going on, see if I can see some of the things that you saw, type of things, and then go from there.
Right, exactly. Did I mention with Gilbert III and kind of how he's been coming along and a challenge for a roster spot? Did I talk about that the other day?
I think a little bit there. I mean, he's making a push, and he's pushing at the good time here.
He is, yeah. And today was more of the same. In the one-on-one drills, had one break up, almost had another. Just doing well, flowing sideline to sideline. I think he's processing, reading his keys better. Tackling's been fine so far, and we'll have a ways to go to probably better evaluate that, but just someone kind of always around the ball. So, I know we talked about Sutton Smith in the offseason, and there was, I think it's fair to say, a lot more excitement about Sutton Smith than there was Gilbert III, but I mean, Sutton Smith could still make it, but I think Ulysses Gilbert III is making a name for himself and stating a case to be on this 53.
Yeah, I just, in the accurate tape that I watched, I haven't seen it yet,
Yeah.
So I'm still looking for it. I'll be looking for it, during the preseason as well too. Not that it can't be developed. Either I didn't watch the right set of games, and I've been guilty of that before as well too. But I just didn't see it.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't blown away by his accurate tape, but I think he's got the traits and the tools that can make him an effective NFL player with some experience and some technique and probably just a better film study and being able to hone that craft now that you're in the NFL. You're not dealing with college and school and practice restrictions and all that stuff.
All right, fair enough.
With cornerbacks, Steven Nelson making some noise. Had 2 interceptions the last couple of days. I know there was a little mini freak out on Twitter very early on, when they were in shells the first 2 practices, and I think Steven Nelson's a good reason to remind people that it's okay. Steven Nelson has a big 4-year body of work. Let's look at that, not look at a couple practices, especially the ones in shells. But He's doing fine. Brian Allen, I still think that first day was his best day. Things have been really quieter since. Did not have a great day today. He's been bodied by Tevin Jones.
I saw that. I saw a clip of the back shoulder catch and all like
Mhm.
that. I mean, what can a guy do on that? I mean, and yeah, I mean, I know it's a nice catch by Tevin and all like that, but I would expect it was a good throw. B, it was you expect a wide receiver to catch that one, and C, I don't know how you can ask the cornerback to break that up.
I know that's a tough play, but it's what Brian Allen is for. He's a 6'3" guy. If you want to, I mean, anyone's going to be able to make that play. It's the 6'3" corner. That's why you draft Allen, is to make those kind of special plays that are difficult for a 5'10" corner to make. So I mean, it's not just been that. It's been other plays too, but it just feels like Allen has been downward slope since that first day. But Justin Lane, meanwhile, I think has been up. I think things are slowing down for him. He's still been a tick slow defending some of the crosses, but I think he'll get there with more time. The 1-2 as a tackler, even showing a little bit better, I think, change of direction ability, being able to sink his hips and explode out and reading the receiver a little bit better. I think Lane is, with more reps too, because of the lines getting thinner and guys getting hurt and all that. I think he's showing that he's getting more comfortable, at least in practice.
Who threw that back shoulder throw, by the way?
I can look. That's why we do the play-by-play. That's the one nice thing.
That's why I used a higher. What will man think when he finds your notes one day?
There were no signs of intelligent life here. That's what man will think, because they won't know what I'm saying. Dobbs do that. Yeah, Dobbs had that was a good placement on that throw.
That was a nice placement on that ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, it's a tough play for Allen. I recognize that, but if he's not going to make it, no one's going to make it. I mean, that's what Allen was drafted to do, was to make those kind of special plays. And I thought he could have contested that on the way down. Instead, he falls down and lets Jones, be able to take that one away from.
Okay, fair enough.
That's all I had with the corners outside of Derek Thomas. Derek Thomas had a pretty nice one-handed snag on an interception yesterday off of Rudolph, who kind of threw one he probably shouldn't have. So we'll see. He's an interesting guy, long, lanky corner that can run a little bit. And then safety, don't have a whole lot there. Marcellus Branch had one of the hits of the day in Friday night late's practice. Trill Edmonds, though, I just want to continue to say Edmonds, I think, is having a really strong camp. Excited about where he's going to be year two. Marcus Allen, been a little bit quieter. Jordan Dangerfield is picking things up, and he needs to pick things up because obviously his spot's very much in jeopardy. But Allen's been a bit underwhelming so far.
All this talk about Mike Hilton and safety. I mean, you're only seeing it here and there, right? You're not seeing it a lot, right?
No, it's been 4 or 5 snaps, end of the day kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're writing about it like he's taking 50 snaps out there in it,
No, they're just doing it because they know they don't really have a free safety, and you get into a game day, you only got 45 guys, somebody gets hurt, Davis goes down, you're not going to slide Edmonds over, who knows what else is going to be at free safety. You just want Hilton to have the experience there in case you had to do it. Also, Hilton did play free safety with Ole Miss, so it's not a brand new position to him. I'm sure he's relying on some of that Ole Miss stuff where he played all over that secondary to kind of be able to make that transition. He did it last year, and you didn't see it in the NFL, so I think it's a break glass in case of emergency kind of situation.
You can also run some inverted stuff too,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did that with the dime guy last year. I mean, so yeah, I mean, just gives you flexibility options. Injuries happen, but it's not something I'm really expecting to see unless something bad happens injury wise.
Yeah, and it's still probably not going to be a shock to us if they go out and add a tight end and a safety, right?
Yeah, I think both positions are still on the table. Maybe safety even more so than tight end with the way that kind of Scotty's coming along. The tight end market doesn't look great right now with all the guys that have been claimed or hurt or situations changed. But safety, I'm going to have to really do a deep dive into safety to see what names might fit out. They're not saying that they're going to. They're not going to make those decisions are a ways away. They're going to go to late August before they make any decisions about adding to the group. They want to evaluate the core that they have. But safety positions, certainly they could still be on the docket.
Paint me a quick picture about today's 7 shots.
I can pull up the list here. Again, shells, so nothing too crazy. It opened up with a touchdown, I believe.
Was that the Juju? What was the one with the diving touchdown today? Was that Juju?
Yep, the one in the header article of my camp diary is Juju and 7 shots. Yeah, the first play, Grimble got wide open on a coverage bust. It was Rudolph hit him for a touchdown, and then Juju had the diving one. Rudolph had a scramble. I count that as a win for the defense. The fourth one, Snell had a nice combative play for Cameron Kelly on the goal line for a score. The fifth play, Hodges came in, incomplete to Spencer. I don't know if it was a drop. Lane was there on coverage. Scotland Williamson had the bad drop for the sixth play. Then the final one, Hodges hit Washington on a crosser, outrunning Marcus Allen. The offense won 4-3.
Okay, and the short, the 2-minute stuff at the end.
Also, real quick, 7 shots offense leads that series for camp 32-23. For the no huddle, the Dobbs came in first, moved the team down super quick. Again, situational football today. It was red zone, Hail Mary, no huddle stuff. But yeah, 3 plays for Dobbs. Ended up with that really pretty throw, a 20-yard touchdown to Juju over top of Steven Nelson. Then Rudolph and the second team came in, and they struggled pretty bad. Washington did have a nice catch, but Fred Johnson got called for holding, and that kind of killed things. That's where Spencer had his really nice catch over the middle. Became a 4th down play. Rudolph did hit Washington, but I think Cam Sutton tagged him up short. The defense won that. So Dobbs got the offense in the end zone. Rudolph did not.
All right, since Wednesday, who's made the biggest move? Gilbert?
In terms of just their own personal play, elevated.
Yeah, just elevated. Who's made the biggest move?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of mentioned some names the other day. I thought Dangerfield. I'll give you a couple because it's hard to pin one. Dangerfield, Gilbert. Who was the other one I was just going to mention? Justin Lane. So I guess I'm probably missing somebody, but yeah, Gilbert. Dangerfield, Justin Lane have been, and Tevin Jones, that I mentioned him, have all been better the last couple of days.
All right. Ooh.
I bore you.
No, just it's been some long nights here. Now I'm looking at Ed Reed, cigar hanging out of his mouth here too, as well too.
He got a cigar out of his mouth.
Yeah, he got a nice brim hat on, and
he said he didn't write a speech. He was going to do it all from heart.
He's got some printed papers he's holding in his hand, so we'll see. Tim taking some great shots, isn't he?
Yeah, today was his last day for camp, so be sure to thank Tim. Let me get his his Twitter, so you can follow it directly, so I don't have it incorrectly. Yep, Tim O.T. Rice, R-I-C-E. Yeah, he's done a great job, provided some great coverage for us, some stuff that I've been able to see but don't have a great shot of. He's been able to get in some stuff I haven't seen that he's been able to get. I didn't see that Scotland Williamson and Grimble had the wraps on until Tim told me a little bit later in the day, so he's been really valuable. So if you haven't followed him, please do, and certainly do thank him for the work he's provided to the site.
And we also thank our friends at Touring Plans and our buddy Lynn Testa as well too. Tell the fine folks about what Touring Plans does.
Absolutely. Touring Plans, if you're planning a trip to Disney, want to book a vacation this winter, if you're in Western PA, it's probably a good time to do it. You can go through them. They'll help you get squared away. You can go to touringplans.com, or if you do read our training camp diaries, they're always linked in to the article up near the top, so you can go check them out. But yeah, thank them for being a very long-time sponsor of the site and our camp coverage.
All right, and the Fan Fest is Sunday night at Heinz Field, so another night practice for the team on Sunday. Obviously, that means you'll be getting home later again, so we're not going to be doing any recap podcast Sunday night, but what we will do is we'll be back at it, I think, on Monday night. Is Monday the 5th one? Yeah.
What's that?
Are they off Monday?
Yeah, they're off Monday.
Okay,
they're back Tuesday.
so we'll be back at it Tuesday then. You and I, after tonight, then I guess the next time we'll have a podcast together would be the Tuesday morning podcast.
Yep, that's when we'll do it.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at Steelers Depot. Follow Alex on Twitter at Alex_Kozora. Follow the show at Terrible Podcast. Email the show, theterriblepodcast@gmail.com. Got a few other donations in. Thank you. If you want to go to the site, SteelersDepot.com, hit donate button, upper right navigational bar. $25 a year is really all we're looking for out of everybody that listens to the show. If we got that, we could continue. We could probably even try to make things even better than what they are. But if you can, we appreciate it. If you can't, we understand why as well, too. So until Tuesday, as always, thanks for listening to this special edition of the Terrible Podcast with Dave and Alex.